I don't like what you say anyway.
Get that out. Oh! Yeah, g'day, mate. All right. Now, I don't know if this is wise, doing this on a Thursday. I think Monday's my night. Monday's my big numbers night, bro. But let's keep it front street. I'm in a bit of a funk. I've been in a bit of a funk. And so I'm trying to, what do you call it? Push my way out of it by forcing myself to turn it on. And by turning it on, I mean turn on this very camera and draw some stuff and see if it can't summon some good vibes and whatnot. Speaking of vibes, let's get some tunes back cracking, shall we? What we're doing tonight is drawing one of these little, well, for all five. Against that slim gem, but you know it's a commission job that is due. It is shaded due, and I need to get it done, and I would love to get it done tonight, but we'll see how we go, yeah, right, all right. So I'm one step ahead of you. So we're drawing this guy. It's a gorilla, and he's ready for Christmas. What about you guys? Done your shopping yet? Yeah, I'm guessing the company that this is for, they are planning ahead with their getting their mascot ready. Now, I should be pretty decent at drawing this guy because I've drawn him maybe 60 times? 60... Let's go with 60. But yeah, not sure how long we'll go. We'll see. If you guys want to hang out, then we'll hang out. If I have the stamina, then we will get her done. If I'm not getting enough done, then I might have to sign off and try and get this done because, man, I would like to have not much on tomorrow. It would do me some good. So what have y'all been up to? What we got? I'm pretty turned on, says Duncan Pranavish. It's good. Good to hear, mate. Yo, what's up? Peter Lane. Hello, Pete. Scott Ross, how you doing? Leroy Gusset in the house. Oh lordy, don't being up Christmas already. Stop eat. Maybe you need some Red Bull. Yeah, I don't really drink Red Bull because I'm weirdly paranoid about heart attacks. I actually had a scan on the old ticker a while back because I was a little bit scared. And they said, you will have no heart episode in the next 10 years. So, and that was 9 years ago and 364 days. So, we'll see. Yeah, so I did check with the people who this is for if they minded me drawing it on stream because they're pretty cruisy about me sharing it on my social media and stuff. So I thought, why not push that friendship a little further and see if they're okay with me streaming it. Pardon me. Oh, yeah. And I'm drinking McSauce. Yeah, $1.50 a can a bargain at twice the price. Not really, it's pretty expensive, but hey. But still, a good sarsaparilla is hard to come by these days for a decent price. So we're getting the McSarse back cracking. Yeah, so I'm trying to will myself out of a funk, because as much as I like to say that the old D, and by that I mean depression, not my doodle. Yeah, g'day, mate. It can still get a hold of me when I least expect it, and when I don't want it. I mean, I never want it, but sometimes when I have it, when I have one of these sort of episodes, if you will, it's almost like I do want it while I'm in it. It's like a parasite that wants to be fed, and I'll find myself kind of leaning into it a little bit, and kind of against my will, like listening to music that kind of keeps me sad, for lack of a better word. Watching videos that make me depressed and whatnot. Yeah, Scott, try and think positive thoughts. So that's the idea behind this, because it's been too many days. It's been over a week and a half, and these things force me to turn it on. And as much as I don't want to, like, I could not be bothered turning it on. It's like when they say, you know, when they say you should just try smiling or whatever, and they make you, and they say, trust me, the more you do it, it releases the endorphins that something. So that's what I'm trying to do, essentially, by forcing myself to turn it on, to be on this thing. I'm hoping it'll have that sort of effect where once I'm done, it turns out, oh, it's been on the whole time. Oh. Yeah, no matter how many times I draw these guys, I still manage to make him look weird from time to time. So it's sort of a weird thing where I'm like, I want to get it done, but I also, you know, you can't hand in a piece of crap. There's a reason why they get me to do so many of these, because they kind of like them. So gotta try and maintain the old quality, because otherwise, mate, they'll stop coming. Said the, something or other to the whatnot. You kind of want to feel it, I guess. Like, if you're gonna hit me, then really hit me, Yeah. I kind of thought of it like a fire that, hey, Dave. A fire wants to burn. All right, I haven't thought this analogy out. But it's like, you're being tricked into almost throwing another log on the fire. I don't know what the deal is. If I knew, I wouldn't be in this problem to start with, would I? So let's pretend it's not there, and let's just party, shall we? I don't know that it's a party, but it's definitely a something. So what should we talk about? I had a few things. I was thinking about how, I couldn't stream on Monday because, the SAD's got a hold of me, but also the work that was due. Pardon me, I'm sipping on this sarsaparilla like it ain't no thing. The work that I had due was stuff that I couldn't draw on camera. So what was my point? Yeah, and so that got me thinking about my job before this. was as a draftsman, and I thought about, and so my dad would say, so you're drawing for a living. I'm like, Dad, I'm drawing like mechanical plans of ductwork in roofs. He's like, yeah, but it's still drawing. And I was like, yeah, all right. That's when I checked my dad into a home because he'd clearly lost it. No, I didn't do that. But yeah, so I was thinking about like how there was never like I couldn't stream drafting, but then I thought there actually was a time when I had to draw the ductwork. So what I did was heating and ventilation, and which meant all that stuff that Bruce Willis climbs through in his movies. It's drawing all that stuff and making it fit. So a guy smarter than me would say, hey, this is what we need. This is how big the place is. We need this, this, and this. This is how much air we need. And then I would have to like look at the building and go, well, to fit Bruce Willis in this roof, you need to like this size goes through there and then goes under that and then does this and blip, blop, blip. Yeah, one time I got to draw the ductwork for a jail. And now that meant, hey, Pete, all right, let's gorilla. Peter Wilson, that is. Yeah, I drew. So I was trying to think, was there anything that I wouldn't have been able to show in the drafting days? And yeah, there was a. Where's this guy's shoulder? Oh, son of a bee. It's when the pencils. Pencils have. Pencils don't fail me now. Yeah, so. I worked for a little company. There was just two of us, my boss and me. And we got approached to draw up, I think it was the Melbourne jail. I'm not sure which jail, but and it's probably best I don't know which jail, so don't come after me, criminals. But yeah, so we had to get we got the plans, and they had to be like signed off to us and stuff, and like. Essentially, we weren't allowed to like take them home. They were registered to our office, and we're only allowed to look at them like once or twice. All these rules, because obviously, we now know all the secret ins and outs of this jail, and we're putting in ductwork that, essentially we could put in little secret passages and whatnot. We didn't, but yeah, and so just to debunk some of your favorite movies, you can't crawl through the ductwork for more than maybe one, for maybe 10 meters is probably as far as you can go. Because at least here in Australia, we have all kinds of fire ratings and stuff. So if you go through a wall, you need what's called a fire damper. And that's like a big grate that Bruce Willis is not getting through. You have volume dampeners. You have like the whole thing like changes sizes as the further on you get. You're with every grill, which is like the vent in your roof. With every one of those you pass, you've got less air in your vent, right? So why would you spend all this money on a massive vent? And what happens is the air, say this square that I'm in is full of air. But then like once you have a vent, some of that air goes out there, right? So you've only now got this much air. Why can't I do hands? So that air doesn't just go nicely through. What it does is it starts bouncing. and banging off the walls and stuff. And so that's when you get loud. That's why, like, when you sometimes if you can hear the air conditioning at a place, I mean, there's numerous reasons, but one of them is that the ductwork is too big for the air that's going through it. So what the ductwork needs to do, mate, is it transitions to something smaller. And so the more vents you got, the smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller your ductwork gets. Bruce Willis ain't getting through much of that at all. So Die Hard, more like try hard. Learn your AC and heating ventilation, Bruce. Yeah, g'day. So got that going for us. What else they got going in ductwork? There's a weirdly racist part where the some of the boom, Die Hard just got Spedzied from Peter Wilson. You're damn straight. What other movies can I crush? Well, who else's plot relied heavily on crawling through ductwork? Because that's where my expertise, and I dare not say I'm an expert, but to all the mechanical engineers who are watching, I hope I did you proud. Where was I? But yeah, Die Hard, good movie. Except for the factual inaccuracies. No, I haven't watched Die Hard since learning that it's all nonsense. I once had an ingrown toenail that lasted for about 5 years. How's that for a story? I got it on a beach when I accidentally kicked a rock. Oh, hang on. Dan May. They crawled through ducts in the Maze Runner. Funny, I would have thought they would have gone through mazes in that one, Dan. Oh, now I know why you like that movie. It's about you and your brother. The maze running. Yeah. Stay tuned for more jokes like that as the night rages on. I've just given thought to actually making this look like a belt. And that's the extent I'm going to. That was well worth it. I wouldn't have predicted that I'd be drawing Santa-based characters at this time of the year, but here we are. Sometimes good enough is good enough. No, that's not. Close enough is good enough. Yeah, so anyway, I kicked this rock, right? And boy, did my toe dislike what had happened to it. And why am I telling this story? But I remarked to my friend Doug about it because he was well versed in the world of toenails gone astray. And y'all seen a gorilla's feet? Because I haven't. Do we need to research it? Do they have 4 toes and kind of a thumb toe? Are we going for factually accurate? Do we want toenails? Because this is meant to look like kind of cute. So maybe let's not. I shouldn't have started with this one, I don't think. I should have gotten the swing of drawing. This guy's called Parky. I should have gotten into the swing of drawing Parky again in his civvies, as they say, in the Santa business. They don't say that at all in the Santa business. I could kind of see myself being a Santa as the years go on. If you could get air-conditioned suits, or if we could move our... Oh, yeah, there is a... Do I bother? Are we going factually accurate there, Dunk? What do you think? scientifically accurate, I guess, is maybe the thing. I can't have spent this long ragging on the inaccuracies of Die Hard and then just be throwing four-toed gorillas out there, can I? I mean, you know, most gorillas don't dress up as Santa either, so you know we're all over the shop logically. What were we talking about? I can't even remember. Ingrown toenails, gross. Then being a Santa. Make the hairy toenails. I should say, so these are for a business that this is their mascot. It's largely directed at kids. They have like an ice cream shop. They have several play centers, cafes, and all this sort of stuff. And so this guy ends up on their walls and stuff like that. So while, yes, I would like to put hairy feet, I dare say that I would then get notes saying, hey, can we ditch the hair? Yeah, so the go is with it. So, you know, earlier today I did the sketches and I sent them in. Maybe I could show you because I did, you know, just in case. So they wanted 2 Halloween gorillas. That's the top 2. 2 Christmas gorillas. That's those 2. And then a footy gorilla. And so this guy is wearing the colors of their business. But they were all approved except, yeah, this Santa one. They weren't big on that one. So we ditched him. We wrapped him in light bulbs instead. And there we go. So what was my point? That hairy toes were not in my original sketch, therefore not approved. Therefore, I could make extra work for myself if I put hairy toes, and then they're like, gross, get rid of that. And I don't know if you know this about me, but working is akin to jerking. I don't know what that means, but I'm not big on it. I'd rather get the work done and out the door. So let's have a look. Not the worst, not too bad. Yeah, my sort of thought process, my hope, my dreams is that these will take me about half an hour each. And that I can get them all done in about 2.5 hours. But as I say, don't know if we're going to make it that far, but we'll see how we go. Because, yeah, as I said, I'd like to have this done. It would be sweet to be off the list. You just made the list. When you're doing white, it's always a pain in the butt because you can't really tell if you filled it in. So you got to turn the background off. You go. Let's go for a tad of a grey beard, sort of ever so slightly grey. Oopsie doopsie. Sorry, I've clicked over into work mode, trying to just get it done mode. Yeah. So this what do you call it? This ingrown toenail. Gee, stuck with me a while. I'll tell you that for free. And I told my mate Dougie about it because, yeah, as I said, he was well versed in the world of these things, and you know, he gave me his best theories. I didn't love them, but they were worth a shot. I gave him a shot, and it didn't pan out. And then years later, like 3 years later, that's what I'm saying. I had this sucker for a while. Randomly, this is back in the day when we would get drunk and carry on. Doug is lying on the floor, and I am standing up. And Doug was a bit of a, and still is, bit of a ruffian, mate, bit of a rough guy. Gentle as all get out, but you know, he liked to throw his fists around every now and again. He just thought, I'm going to punch Rob straight in the foot. I'd never felt a pain like that, being punched on the foot on my ingrown toenail. And then he, when I recoiled in pain, he was like, have you still got that thing? And I was like, yeah, mate. And so he was like, dude, you should get that looked at. So went to the doctor. The doctor said, we're going to rip this guy out. I was like, rightio. You know, well, let's get to it. And they, you know, shoot you up with all manner of stuff. And it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Gorillas in every store. Yeah, so they shoot this thing into your foot, into your toe, just like this will numb you. You know, go to a nice restaurant, a nice Japanese restaurant, get some numya. And you know, so my toe is now essentially, for all purposes, what's that word? All intents and purposes? All intensive purposes? What is it? Like camping is all intense. I'm just letting that joke just sit for a sec. You guys can absorb it. Yeah, so, you know, I'm numb in the old Tootsie area. So then, you know, then you know, becomes the now it's time to get down to the science of it, where the doctor enacts his years of training. That would be black there, bro, because there's a belt underneath. Let's just do that one black too, because it stands out, and I don't want it to stand out. So using his years of training, the doctor gets to work, and what he does is he yanks. He basically just gets a pair of pliers and he yanks on your shit. Yanks on that shit. Oops. And so while you may not feel, I guess, the pain of your toenail being pulled from you, you do feel the jerking. You do feel the yanking. That day, friends, there was lots of yanking and jerking. And this guy was pulled free from my foot. And you'd think that would be the end of it. No, it grew back right where it left off, like you know, it had found its home and it wanted to go back to its home. So it grew back straight into me sides. I came in at a great time, just as Spedsy was like yanking and jerking. Ha 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 ha. Facebook user, welcome. And the yanking and jerking has only just begun. Now that you're here, we can finally get cracking with some serious, yeah, you know what's. So just to wrap up this crazy chestnut of a story, so it grew straight back. Straight into me, you know, I'm trying not to say whatnot. I watched a little bit of, thank you, Facebook user. I am drawing a gorilla Santa. It's a commission. It's Shade and Dew. Funnily enough, I shouted you out at the top of the show because I can't help myself. Whenever I say this job is due, I say this job is Shade and Dew, and this job is due, Shade and Dew style. So I'm trying to get 5 of these gorillas done tonight. We'll see how we go. But yeah, I need to get. Basically, I'm hoping that they'll take me one every half hour. And so far we are on target. Stay on target. Stay on target. Star Wars reference. I'm also trying to stay a little high energy or something to force myself out of a bit of a funk. So, just to get brutally honest with your ass. And that's the thing too. I like to get honest with people's asses. So, I also like saying that I've got something brand new for that ass. I don't really know what it means. Can you explain the Christmas motif? I can. So these are all these gorillas. It's a mascot for a company that I do a lot of work for. As you can see, I do a lot of work for them. The order this time is for 2 Halloween-themed gorillas. That's the top 2. 2 Christmas-themed gorillas. That's these guys. And 1 football-themed gorilla using their the colors of their shops and play centers and stuff. So I started with what I thought was the easy one first, and it's, while I've drawn this guy a lot, you get out of the swing of things, and it's been a little bit tricky getting back into drawing him looking like Santa. But here we are. Does he have a name? Yes, his name is Parky, because he is the mascot of, should I be saying the company? They did say I could stream drawing him, I asked. Then they said, could they share it on their social media? But I said, maybe not, only because, I try not to be crass and sweary and all that sort of stuff. But I have been known to drop a couple of swear words. What were we talking about? Peeps? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, so he has a name. Then his name's Parky. Did I say that? Yeah. So you probably could find who it's for. And you could find my work all over their windows and ice cream trucks and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And there's nothing like a reoccurring customer who's super cruisy about, I guess digs what you do, maybe. And so they're like, they want more. And can we get him doing this? And can we get him doing that? So the sketches were approved this afternoon. So I thought, well, I'm going to be drawing all night. May as well do at least a little bit of it on the old streamy. And so here we are. Then I started talking about toenails and whatever. May I ask how you're recording your screen? I assume this is done on iPad. Yes, it is an iPad. And so basically plug the iPad into your computer. Then open QuickTime Movie Player. Select your iPad as the camera or device or whatever. Oopsie doopsie doo. And then to put it on here, it's just share screen and share that window. But if you were using Procreate, it records you anyway. But to be able to do it in real time like this. McGilla Gorilla's cousin. Yeah, there was lots of inspiration taken from those sorts of things. Yeah, it was actually there's an argument kind of against. Maybe I shouldn't say it. There is it is weird. This is a job that is allowing me to stream. Maybe I should be careful of what I say. So let's just make fun of ourselves, shall we? And of nobody else. So what do we got? I was trying to think of you'll made me learn something about myself last week. When realizing all the funny stories I like to tell are essentially, what would you call it? Not necessarily happy ending stories. Ones where, I make a fool of myself or whatever, but I think they're funny. So I've been thinking I've been thinking about that, just going, is that a thing that I like? That's how I deal with stuff that maybe sucks normally. Maybe I just see the funny part of it or something. I don't know, because I was thinking about another thing that I think's funny, but it doesn't exactly paint me in the best light. But I was like, something came up about fist fights or whatever that you've been in, and I've only been involved, been around a handful of skirmishes, but one was I completely froze up as my mate was getting his butt handed to him. The guy just came and said, "Excuse me, sir, here is your own butt," and handed it to him. But yeah, me and a buddy, we were waiting for our other friends, just waiting for a mate outside something, and there was this other guy there, and he was waiting. He was waiting for something too, for someone, and he was a perfectly nice fellow. We had fun chatting too. He then asked us if we partook in what he was about to partake in, and that's taking a aerosol can of chrome, the stuff you might spray on your mag wheels or something, and he would huff it. He would spray it into a freezer bag or a Safeway bag or whatever, and then he would suck on the fumes. He was one of those old fume suckers, and I'd never seen anything like that. I was 17 or something. And so I was like, that does not seem healthy. Oh, well. You do you, mate. You go for it. You have a good time. Well, so this donkey of a person dips his head into this bag of chrome, and he comes out of the bag a different person. Not only did he have silver on his face. How are we going? 38 minutes. Oh, we're not on target, guys. Let's just put a few more of these. I don't like those anyway. Let's just do a few highlights on the other side, and then we'll call this one Dunzo. So this guy came out of this bag a different person. Not only was his face silver from the chrome he had just inhaled, but he had turned into like a dinosaur person, a Neanderthal man, a zombie, a creature. Hey, Steve, we're working on commissioned gorillas today. That's all the information you need, isn't it? That tells you everything. And I'm currently telling the story about how me and a mate were waiting for some other mates, some friends, having a good old chat to someone else, a stranger danger. And this stranger dipped his head, after asking nicely, did we want to partake, dipped his head into a bag of chrome and inhaled, and came out of the bag a different person. And he basically looked at my mate like a zombie would look at fresh meat, and just launched at him, attacking him, fighting him. All right, that one's done. Let's grab. So I started that one, as you can see, but I don't want to do that one just yet. It seems too tricky. So let's go this one. He seems simple as a dimple. So We'll just call this Santa G. What up, Santa G? So he is rolling around on the floor, beating my mate. My mate is beating him, and they're beating each other, and it's a good old time. No, it was horrible. And I just stood there. I was just like, what is happening? I couldn't process it quick enough. Sounds like most people in Newcastle, where I grew up, Raymond Terrace was full of huffers and ice puffers. Yeah, see, I didn't even know the lingo. I called him Bagface or Silver Lips. That's like a Dick Tracy villain. Oh, Silver Lips. That's not a Dick Tracy voice. Yeah, so I can't really remember how the scuffle ended. But it ended, obviously, because I'm not there right now still scuffling. And then, it's funny, the sign across the road, there was this big digital sign reading out across the road. This guy had left, and so what we were going to do is, we're outside at like a debutante ball or something, and we were going to go to the after party. But my mate's now sporting a fat lip, and there's this big digital sign across the road. Now, it's a spherical digital sign, and the message goes around the circle. But occasionally it just flashes, and so it's flashing the word, something weight loss diet or whatever. But from my vantage point, it's just saying die. And we just, old Silver Lips had done a number on us. So I put forward, maybe we don't go to this after party thing. Maybe we just go home. And my mate was all for it. Now this poor guy, this mate of mine, been through the wars. There was another time, me and Dan May and this guy, we were at a function of sorts, and when like now I'm old enough to realize these are just insecure dick bags, but back then, they were just, well, whatever they were. So anyway, when I back in the day when I imbibed, I thought I just got funnier, so I liked to play the larrikin, and but those who perhaps weren't a big fan weren't a fan of the exaggerated version of me. So when one guy who I would normally stay away from, now I've got some liquid courage in my guts, and I'm peeing outside this party. I'm peeing on a bush, and he's walking near me. And I was like, "Oh, you're trying to get a look, mate," or something like that. Thinking I'm hilarious. He, much like old Silver Lips, just, I don't know, that was the wrong implication. This is an insecure gentleman. And he leapt at me and just instantly pulled me to the ground. Now, I like to watch wrestling. I liked to wrestle my little brother back in the day. But I ain't exactly putting people in a Kimura lock or anything. I'll tell you that for free. So my buddy jumps on top of this guy and rips him off me. Just walked in. Sorry, I'm late. Can you start from the beginning? Omnibo. I'm talking about all the times I got my ass kicked, mate. But in a funny way. Because it's something I realized about myself. I find stories about my own shortcomings to be funny, which was a revelation last week that people said, "No, Bo, stop with the joking. You're serious. I'm going back to the beginning. No, so anyway, guy jumps me, my mate jumps this guy. So unlike me, who froze the other time, my mate's like all over it. But now it's become his fight. And him and this dude are rolling around on the ground. And, so me and Dan, we try to sort of like calm the farm a little bit and sort of, I'm trying to make these ears match, but they're kind of not wanting to. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, so Dan and I try to calm the farm, but that just brings the other guys' mates out. And I don't know what happened to Dan, but this one guy, I don't know what happened to Dan because I was being dealt with. One guy picked me up and put me in a tree. Like didn't even like punch me or anything, just like picked me up like I was a toddler and placed me in a tree. It was like one of those trees that's like, small trunk and then lots of thicker branches that start fairly low to the ground. And so, good for climbing on or placing nerds inside. So this guy just placed me in the tree while my buddy continued to get his butt kicked. So I think the dad of the party or something came out, and I think it was fairly obvious who the nerds were and who the bullies were. So the dad basically picked up me and Dan and our buddy and took us back into the party and told these guys to, get a shuffle on. But anyway, so the guys were out the back of this. It was a girls' party, and we're now back in the party. And one of the guys comes in, and goes my mate again. And in the going, they tumble to the ground, and this guy is a larger lad, and he breaks. His falling on my friend breaks my friend's leg. Unbeknownst to my friend, like he did, obviously he's in pain, but he didn't realize his leg was broken. So that looks weird. We'll worry about that later. So in the pain and chaos and whatever, this guy he retreats. The leg breaking guy is sent away by the girls or whatever, and we're there licking our wounds, and then a middleman is sent to talk to us, and we're instructed. Now these guys are banned from the party or whatever, and we are instructed that we are to come out the front and fight all these guys, or they're going to come in and get us. So we're like, all right, we're coming out. We're doing it. Which was our way of buying time, while we then, the three of us looked at each other and go, what the hell are we going to do? Even if they don't come in to get us, at the very least, they're going to be waiting outside. I just got a note from my wife that said I don't have to skip my pie tomorrow morning as the appointment has moved to 10:30. So good news for me. My pie is back on the menu. We should be cheating this, I think. Yeah, so easy there, cowboy. Oh, fruit soup magoot. We'll tidy it up later, maybe, hopefully. So as we sit and discuss our options, I throw out a genius idea. I say, let's jump the back fence. Now we are miles away from where we live. But we just, rather than go out the front, we could jump the back fence, disappear into the night, and never have to deal with these guys at all. So my mate, broken leg and all, climbs the back fence, and me and what have we done here, mate? What have we done? This doesn't look good at all, mate. We tried to make it speedy. Whoa, what is that? I've never seen that before. Yeah, so then did we go home and lick our wounds? No, we went to meet the rest of the party at the nightclub they were going to after. And my buddy with the broken leg, unbeknownst to him yet, he danced all night long on that sucker. And the rest, as they say, is a debilitating recovery period with plaster on your old peg. Have you ever drawn a cartoon of your said wife? No, I dare not. No, I haven't. I draw cartoons of people who ask me to draw them. But even then, yeah, it's tricky. So one time a friend asked me to draw them. And the thing about drawing someone is you kind of got to pick a thing or two that's distinctive, like the way Quick Nick draws me, by drawing basically a guy with glasses and a really big nose. Now I can, I'm a somewhat thick-skinned individual. Well, at least I like to pretend I am, and then anyway. But yeah, so yeah, one time I was asked to draw someone, and you pick a thing or two on their face, you make that the thing, and then draw the Simpsons eyes and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, the lady I drew it, she was basically, the bit that I chose to draw was something she was very self-conscious of, and I'd basically just had, through my drawing, had pointed out to her that it was as visible as all get out. And yeah, so I don't often do unsolicited drawings for peeps. But I actually do. I was thinking, once this job is done, what do I have on the agenda? Because I'd love to take tomorrow off. I have like 4 or 5 big jobs, but they're all. My favorite thing about a job is when it's done, or when it's with the client, as in like you've done the preliminary sketch or you've done the second draft or whatever, and you're waiting to hear back. Now, the downside to that is you can think you got the day off and then you hear back and they need it immediately, whatever. But sometimes they can take forever. And yeah, it's like free time off. So I've got like 4 or 5 biggest jobs that are all with the client, and I've got one other job for my old buddies who run a fruit shop, and I do all their stickers and logos and stuff, and that's drawing their heads often. And fortunately, they have beards and glasses, which often make things easier when you've got, this guy always wears that funny hat or whatever. It makes someone a bit more recognizable. Where do I order my new profile pic? Make me beautiful, Spedsy. Mate, I'll happily do it if you want. yeah, let me know how you. So there'd be like cartoon versions, or I mean, not that I draw serious, but the ones I do for the fruit shop, they look like the person. He's not actually a spaceman, but so they say, "Hey, can you draw me looking like a cowboy?" The lady that works there, can you draw me looking like Wonder Woman? Can you draw me snorkeling, etc.? So we can do something like that. Or yeah, it's the mild panic where I go, where was I working on? Where is it? I didn't delete it. Holy moly, where is it? Oh, there. Whee! I got a little scared. Now, draw a football. I've barely even seen one before. That's a downright lie. I have seen footy. And as my sister-in-law once said to me, I'm a surprisingly good kick for someone who knows nothing about footy, has never played footy. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed a kickaroo here and there. Now, do we just bitch out on the laces, or do we try and do proper ones? Let's go for proper-ish ones. Meow, meow, meow. What do we got? I was trying to think, like my mate Doug. He used to punch Dan May a lot, and Dan May used to punch him a lot. That was so weird. They enjoyed it. They would get together and they'd just punch each other. It was really, and I was like, they at one point tried to include me in the game, and I didn't understand the game. I was like, what happens? And then they showed me, and they just literally punch each other. Like, we'd go to a nightclub or whatever, and we'd get in the car afterwards, and the first thing they would do as soon as they got in the car is they'd beat the crap out of each other. Didn't understand it then, don't understand it now, mate. Maybe that's an alpha male thing. And I don't know I'm not a beta tape, but maybe I'm a Charlie? What comes after beta? Masturbator. Easy. You'll catch Brad Daniels on Aussieverse? As if you didn't. Brad is rad. Get into it. That bow is no slouch either. You know what I'm saying? Now, a rule I've broken here a few times is that this gorilla doesn't really have a thumb. Well, like, he has a thumb, but it's little and it's not protruding like that. But, you know, client says give him doing a thumbs up. You do a thumbs up. Gorillas also don't necessarily dress like Santa. Doug hit like a 12-year-old girl. Hard. It's Dan May. Beta male cuck. Oh, that's what I am. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, someone called me a... yeah. That's on the Spedsy Awards the other night. Went pretty well, but I think I went too far with my last voiceover thing. The idea was that I completely pay out on myself, but make some of my friends laugh some of the people who know laugh by using some of the phrases that someone said about me. That, like, you know, I know I'm all over these bloody streams and everything, and I'm I could be an acquired taste, I guess. And so if you if you're not into the cut of my jib, and then I keep putting my jib everywhere, it's not everybody's thing. So someone had some things to say about me, which is totally fine. But unfortunately for them, they said it to the wrong person, I guess, who then told me. What was my point? Oh yeah, one of the things was that I'm a cuckold, apparently. Which, to my understanding, was that I like to watch other men. Anyway, you guys can Google it for yourself. Yeah, which was odd. Of all the criticisms that I've had over the years, that was one of the stranger ones. Yeah, so I included in the Spedsy Award outro thing the guy saying one of the things, and like going hard on me, sort of thing. But I don't think the joke landed so much as like I saw the faces of my compatriots, and it was a little bit what do you like? I don't know what you call it. Kind of like Adam Sandler does movies about himself getting his ass kicked. I kind of Adam Sandlered myself. People didn't wasn't as funny as I thought. It was more kind of, I don't know, something else. Spedsy Awards was honestly hilarious, and I loved it. Wasn't expecting such a great show. Oh, thanks, man. That's Bo. Duncan Pranovicius, don't deny it. You love a good pegging. Yeah, well, before before we had a dryer, yeah, most of my clothes were pegged. But I found that often my clothes would then come in from the outside, maybe having spider webs, or one time I even had a spider in my clothes. So the whole pegging thing for me, I don't know. Yeah, once we got a dryer, it became hang them on the clothes horse, and as soon as the horse is over it, give him his sugar cubes, put the clothes in the dryer, and you're as good as done. The Spedsies came together so well. Had to say a particular highlight. Oh, have to say maybe a particular highlight for me was Miss Pickles. She was such a baddie. Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts. Which, kudos to me and Nick, because why not? This mouth sucks. I'm getting rid of it. That wasn't planned at all. That was just that poor Nick. I think he was in pain, and he had not. I think he had not worn a shirt and tie, maybe. And I can't remember, but yeah. So he just randomly put this wig on, and so I'd seen the wig in the little preview screen, and thought that's too funny not to address. I've been Googling that Mrs. Pickles, and it's not the same thing. Yeah, there's only one Lady Pickles, and I think she might have gone back into hiding until next year's Spedsy Awards. Man, I'd love to know what... there were some people hate watching that thing. What's this going to be about? What's this guy think he's doing? And then saying that it was absolute nonsense. Was it though? Or is it everything? Not the kind of pegging I heard a certain person accuse you of loving? Wow. I mean, even if I did love that, is there anything wrong with it? I would have thought that, you know, if it's your thing, you go get it. You do you, and you get yours done. Hate is gonna hate, mate. Something like that. It was the best kind of nonsense. Yeah. Hey, Claudia, what's cracking? What other fights have I been in? Does anybody know? The only time I ever punched someone was when I was in year 9 and we were playing basketball, and a guy purposely, speaking of pegging, jammed his knee into my butt. Like, I'd gone up for a rebound and I come back down, and there was just this knee forcibly driven into my back seat area. And I am not this guy, wasn't then, am not now, I don't think. But I turned around and punched him in the face. It was just like a reflex. Yeah, I don't know. So for like, there was this brief moment in time where I was a badass, but had he then gone, you, or whatever, I would have gone, oh, I'm a waterfowl, but instead of a D, it's a C. I'm a cuck. Quack quack. I barely know what that means now. I definitely didn't know what it meant then. So we're at an hour 7. I'm meant to have had 2 of these done by now. I'm not up to snuff, you guys. So let's I just, you know, I didn't like his chin. I didn't like his face. And one thing about this guy, I don't think I've ever drawn a neck. So when in doubt, take the head out, put it back on. Yes, Claudia, I am using Procreate. It is my weapon of choice. I dare not leave home without it. I have become so dependent on it that I've been known to zoom into a piece of paper when using it. I have begged the Photoshop gods to use some of these tricks and bits and whatnot. But alas. Yeah, so I'm a procreator for life, which is a weird sentence. Because I dare not be procreating when I'm in my 80s. It was weird enough having kids in my 40s, and my daughter's first words were, "Grandpa?" And yeah, like I go to pick up my kids at school, and the other dads there think I'm actually there to pick them up. I'm so old. I'm so old that when I was born, the number one song of the time was Green Sleeves. I'm so old that my first jumper was made out of woolly mammoth skin. All right, I should have just quit on the Green Sleeves one. That was pretty good. I'm so old that my birth certificate was chiseled on a piece of rock. Spedsy is so old. How old is he? That for a pacifier, I used the first fish that walked on land and evolved. No, that doesn't. We're just workshopping, guys. We're workshopping jokes here for when I take this show on the road. Which is a thing they don't say much anymore, is it? Remember when your dad used to say, "All right, kids, let's get this show on the road." It's like, Dad, we're not a touring circus. What are you talking about? You crazy barnacle. Duncan says that I'm so old that my social security number is 1. It's pretty good. Omnibo says he is so old he has a signed copy of the Bible. That's good too. Yeah, and another one. He's so old that he was at the First Supper. I wasn't at the First Supper, but I'm damn sure if I'll be at the last. I don't know what that meant. Oh no, wait, that's the joke. So that there was a last. Yes, it wasn't called the First Supper; it was a Last Supper. That's good. Nice. Oh, now I want to think of more. What's something old? Oh, I can't just sit here and think. That's just ridiculous. All right, so let's talk about something else because this ain't gonna get us there. Me trying to think of, or maybe if I just start talking. All right, so if I just start saying it, I am so old that when no, I was trying to trust my brain. I'm so stupid. I pulled out a ruler to see how long I slept. Dan May. See, I feel like you guys have got the, I don't know. You're at a home field advantage. I'm at my home, oddly enough. All right, I can't think of any. Stop trying to think of. I'm just thinking of dumb ones that don't make any sense. I'm so old I was there with the first radio show or something, and it just doesn't make. There's nothing there. I was going to say I'm so old I was there when they switched over to color television. I'm like, that's not a joke. And my dad was alive for that. All right, it's time to bail on these, I think. Time to Christian bail out of here. But I am so stupid that I Duncan just said, "You're so dumb you failed a blood test." That's awesome. I'm so dumb that I put a fly screen door on my submarine. Does that one work? I don't have jokes at the ready. I have to try. I have to make them up, and sometimes there's too much pressure. If it's not making fun of myself, I don't know how to laugh, you guys. I want to be. All right, stop. Stop thinking. I'm just like, I'm thinking of chicken and the egg. I'm so old. I know who came first. It was me when I saw the chicken. That doesn't work. That's just a crass joke. Or crass words. It wasn't even a joke. Rob's so dumb, he made an appointment to see Dr. Pepper. Yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. I heard there was a sale on color TVs, so I asked for a green one. Mate, I'm happy if this is what this show is. Let's just do it. You guys just put jokes in the comments and I'll read them out. At a certain point, I'm going to stop giving credit and just pretend I'm coming up with these things on the spot. So what else have we got going on in the world? Not actual things in the world, because I want these streams to be viewable in 20 years' time and they're still relevant. What's going on in comics? Brad Daniels has got a sweet Kickstarter going on. Nat Carmichael and Dylan Naylor have got one going on. I tell you, I am happy to be done with the Ring Around the Rosie Battery Hand Kickstarter. That was one of the things that drove me away from playing music. It was the begging people to come watch my band play. And then to be begging them to buy comic books. It's just bleh. So it made me feel a bit icky, but you got to do it. But I'm glad to have that in the rear view, mate. Your mama so dumb it took her 9 months to come up with a joke. Ooh, see that one? That one involves. Well, I guess they all involve me. But Rob's so dumb. That one was from Omnibo. Rob is so dumb he got locked in a grocery store and starved to death. I don't know, Dunk. I feel like me being so dumb that I failed a blood test. But hey, there's no bad ideas. We're all. This is like a writer's room. We're just throwing things out there. So let's just I'll go easy on you, you go easy on me, and together we'll come up with something great, mate. Hey? Did you know that sugar, now don't quote me on this, because I'm rarely right, but the sugar is a cube, right? A grain of sugar is a cube. And so what they do with your Pepsi Maxes and the like to use not as much, so obviously they don't use sugar, they use whatever it is, cancer, whatever their fake sugar is, they manufacture it to be these little spiked balls. Now, if you know me, you know I love a good spiked ball. But the idea is that the sugar, these little squares, they go flying down, cross your tongue, back of the lips, forever on the hips. What's the saying? I don't know. But yeah, so these little spiked balls, they get caught on your tongue. So there's far fewer of them, but they don't fly down your mouth tube as fast as sugar does. So you taste them for longer. So, there's that. So I like to think... So right now, this stream is a bit square, right? So it goes... what am I trying to say? So you have to drink a lot of it to get the taste, to get a continuous taste. Whereas if I did smaller videos, this is not. I did not plan this analogy, and it's very clear. I remember, I'm so old, I remember that they were called anal oggies. Dave Dye paid me a compliment the other day. He said, gee, I watched one of those Spedsy streams and you're a funny bugger, mate. You're a funny bugger. And then so now when I drop things like, I'm so old, I remember when they were called anal oggies, that just doesn't make any sense. I think of Dave straight away and his disappointed face. Mate, have you seen... Should I read these first? Maybe not. Mate, have you seen how hard I shit on people? I can take a heavy roasting. Don't be going easy on me. Okay. I'm trying to think of like a... Mate, if your hair was any straighter, it would be Tom Cruise. So no, I can't. It's when I try that I fail. It's when I don't try. Son of a bee. Dave, I don't think I'm funny, mate. I think you gave me a big head, and now I'm there's a malfunction at the old junction. Where Duncan, I was speaking about. Remember, I think you were here last week, talking about the lady who hit me with all the Ninja Turtle weapons. She had hair that she ironed. Her hair. Hey man, hey quick. It is large, isn't it? Yeah. But no, she used to iron her hair. Do you iron your hair, Duncan, or is it just that straight? And because I have been known to straighten my hair. I am no stranger to using a hot device to wish away my curls. My opa once said that he loved how curly my hair was. And from that day, he nary saw a curl again. Because I didn't really realize, you live in a frontal world where you just see this bit. And I, made this bit as straight as I could. But apparently I had curls going on elsewhere. So I looked into, turns out girls know a lot about stuff. And I learned from my lady friend who liked to iron her hair. And I told my wife, and I said, is there a thing where you can get rid of your hair straighteners, mate? I went so far as to, at one point I grew my beard long, and I was like, there must be such thing as a beard straightener, and yes, there was. And I still use it from time to time to sort of unmanky it. That was my plan, mate, from Dave. So Dave is the killer of comedy. You said Dave gave you a big head when I logged on. Yeah, no, see, quick. Earlier in the stream, I talked about what a thick skin I have, which is not like how well I can take jokes. It's that I'm actually quite small, but my skin is so thick that my head is unnaturally large, and the rest of me, my arms have thin skin. That's a fairly skinny arm. But the rest, I used to do that, says Duncan, laugh out loud, before I got a straightener. I'm Aboriginal, so I've got effing huge curls. Did not know either of those. Has anyone encouraged you to let the curls fly, let them loose? And what happens when it rains? Is your hair like, I'm only happy when it rains, or I'm only curly when it rains? Something. After I wash, I look like some Kent from a 70s metal band. I just realized what that means. I love that. Is Kent a substitute? Because that is cool. What's up, Kent? I like that. Bunch of Kents hanging out, having a laugh. All right, we'll spend too long on this one, guys. This should have been done ages ago. Let's give it a quick look. Let's put some highlights on it. Because you quote a certain price on these things, so you don't want to then go well over your budget, so to speak. Now, I don't do this for the money, but I definitely do it for the money. So let's get let's get our hourly rate up a little bit, shall we? Cuck Kent. Wow. Yeah, my hair when longer likes to get its curl on. Particularly, yeah, back in the day when I had my hair long for a very long time because I got a little bit of a hunchback, bad posture thing going on. And I thought that my long hair kind of bridged the gap a little bit, so it made it less obvious. But it didn't. And yeah, one day, somewhat early on into my relationship with my lady friend, she, she was not a lady who went out looking for long-haired louts like I was, but I won her over with me charm, mate, with a bit of me charm. Yeah, but I remember one time we went to an ice cream place, and behind the counter they had this huge mirror, and I saw my wife and my then girlfriend, and I saw myself. And it was like, one of these things does not go with the other. Like, she was looking all beautiful and whatever, and I just looked like a trout with long hair. So I got a haircut that week, and I'd been getting my hair at that time. This is back in the Dizzy, and I was getting tips. Which were like, dyeing your hair, but not all of it, sort of thing. So I had these blonde streaks or something through it. So the lady who did my tips and whatever, she'd been begging me for ages. Let me cut your hair. Oh, I'd love to do it. And I walked in one day, and I was like, it's time. And I took a whole morning off work to do it. My boss was thrilled to give me the morning off because he too thought I was a hairy trout. So yeah, I took the morning off work to get a haircut, and came back in with short hair, and he was like, I mean, it looks good, but why did it take so long? Because I compensated by then. I got it all dyed and everything and put red through it and stuff, because if I wasn't grungy anymore, I was at least going to be punk rock, mate, with some red hair that I paid a lot for, which is probably not what the punk rock something, but something words and that. All right, this one's done. Moving on. Which one's the next easiest? I like leaving the hardest ones to last. Let's grab this guy here. This one should be fun, at least, to do the lights. Not that they're not fun, but I'd rather be playing Zelda than drawing gorillas. So who else has got a cool haircut going? You guys? Dave, how's your haircuts? It is funny, one time a mate came into the hairdresser while I was already at the hairdresser. It's a weirdly intimate, you're a couple of blokes, just a couple of blokes who dare not have a preference of what their hair looks like for risk of being called the dreaded G word back in the day. But we're all self-conscious idiots who want our hair to look a certain way or want something about us to be something. So we should all stop propagandering each other and, you're allowed to care what you look like. Well, I mean, we shouldn't care what we look like, because when you walk through a shopping center, how often do you look at other people and really give a crap what they look like? But my point is that if you want your hair a certain way, Get your hair a certain way. Don't worry about what bloody, donkeys who didn't get hugged by their dad enough. My daughter is already refusing hugs from me. I am an overhugger. I'm going to get Dave Dye one of these days. And Dave, let's not wait till it's too late, mate. I don't want to be hugging you at someone's funeral. Let's hug while we're happy. Just embrace it. Embrace it. Embrace me. Is what I picture Dave doing right this second. Or not watching at all. He's probably got a weighted heat blanket thing on his shoulders, feeling good. Gee, I'm not where I thought I'd be, mate. I thought I'd be finished this guy by now. All right, so I wrote some things down to talk about in case I couldn't think of something. The other thing I wrote was Fishing Big M. Fishing Big M. Which is a bit... I can't... Ah, okay. I remember what that is now. And there's really not much story. It was one time I got really drunk. And then in the morning I had a Big M before I went fishing on a boat. And milk and seafaring and alcohol are three unlikely bedfellows. Gotta go now. Night, Spedsy. Night, Scott. Thanks for hanging out, man. I'm probably only going to finish this one and then head off myself, I think. Maybe. We'll see how we go. There are quite a few peeps still hanging out, so if they are still here, maybe I'll get inspired to keep rocking. But hey, my point was, thank you. Thanks for hanging out, man. It's really cool. Yeah, on this fishing trip, actually, we caught a fish, well, not me, a friend, caught a fish that they said that was worth something like $10,000. But, they didn't have, the facilities or whatever to keep it at a certain, health level or whatever to get it back to the mainland and then back to, to the people who would pay that money. But it was some fancy fish. She was singing a siren song, she was going wee-oh, 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 and it made me want to jump in the water and make love to a fish half. Mermaids are weird. If they were real, and there's an evidence out there to say, I don't think there is, but let's just pretend there is. I've seen some good-looking animals. I've never seen a half person, half animal. But I can't think of I can't even think, who is objectively one of the best-looking women in the world. Regardless of, let's just say Scarlett Johansson, right? But agree or disagree, whatevs. It's not the point. Whoever you think is the most attractive lady or man on the planet. So let's say John Hamm and Scarlett Johansson are both themselves, but also half fish. And so, you've been sailing for 3 or 4 months You're sunburnt as all get out. You've pretty much got scurvy. You had to chop off one of your legs at one point and replace it with wood. You've got a parrot on your shoulder, but it's not a half parrot, half person. It's a regular parrot. And assuming you find none of your scurvy-infected seafaring comrades attractive, you haven't laid with anyone for 3 or 4 months. So you're a little on the something side. And Scarlett Johansson, Fish, and Don Ham, because that Nick May wrote that in the comic. John Ham. That's his name, right? John Ham? Mad Men? So half fish, half Scarlett Johansson, half fish, half John Ham come out of the water, and they're singing a song that's like so sexy, and they look sexy, I guess. So like they must be singing, was it the Divinals? Like, I touch myself, I want you to know. I was like, all right, thanks for telling me. Yeah, so they're singing. Oh, I hate this. Put the color where you did it in pencils, you donkey. But it's too large. So you're covered in scurvy. Scarlett Fish is swimming around. John Hammond Salmon is swimming around. They're singing this sexy song. We are. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to jump in the water. And even then, you're not guaranteed to be able to make love with the half fish, right? So let's assume that the pirate, seafaring person, knows that they have the bits. The half fish person has the required equipment that you can make love to them. But is the song, is the song sort of like a permission thing, like a come and get it, I'm half fish. So maybe the song is invitational. So maybe you know that it's, if you go swimming, it's a sure thing. Not like on the shore, it's in the water. All right, so Scarlett Fish, you know that she has the equipment. You know via her song that she's down to clownfish. So you jump in the water. So you're on a perfectly good boat, but you do have scurvy. You jump in the water, it's freezing cold. And you know, these things can be hard to sometimes maintain in the best of conditions. You're assuming that Scarlett Clownfish is going to keep you in the game despite the conditions of the water. You get in the water and you're like, all right, let's do this. And then abruptly the song finishes, and John Salmon, and Scarlett Fish grab you and drag you to the bottom of the ocean. I mean, what were you thinking? How did you think it would go? Moby Dick was a whale, right? Like a full whale? That guy went in his mouth, didn't he? You just, you should think about these things. I don't know what Moby Dick was singing, but I guess it was a sonar-based tuner. Ah, it was a sperm whale. That changes the game, doesn't it? So what's a blue whale? Blue balls whale. I think we've jumped the proverbial shark here by almost jumping an actual shark. Now, these collars, they're not matching. I'm not stoked with this one. It's not coming together beautifully. But I think the chaos of these lights being all over him are going to forgive some of our problems. Did you say earlier that there were hate watchers of the last D&D who hate watched the show? No, I don't know for sure. And there wasn't. It's just me being an idiot. No, just more people watching with a. I mean, I think you even watched with like this look. What's this going to be? You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So not hate watching, but just like thinking I might have, might have been like, and now, an event just as prestigious as the Ledger Awards. An event to be taken as seriously as what other people take those other ones as seriously as. So that sort of thing. So not hate watching, more ready to hate watch. But that's just me being a cynical old beasting. Well, that's my face every show, says Duncan, even ones I was on. Yeah. Yeah, which is why I understand why would not be everyone's cup of tea, because I'm an amount. I don't know that I'm a lot, but I am an amount. You saw my face on camera. I have seen your face, and I'm a believer. I think that was a Beatles reference. Then I saw her face, meh, 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 meh. Now I'm a free diver. She's drowning me, meh, 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 meh. And so who's to say if you jump in the water you're like, look at Scarlet Go Fish, she's singing and inviting me in. But John Salmonham is also singing, also inviting people in. So who's to say you don't get in there and then the Salmon Man is like, come here, you beautiful thing. And at that point, you're kind of in his element, right? You're in, I don't know what kind of swimming aptitude you peeps have. But I know me versus a John Hamm-based merman, he could have his way with me quite readily. Rob's so old he confuses the Beatles with the Monkees. Is that actually the Monkees? Then I saw her face, meh, 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 meh. Oh, yeah. Nick May is saying it's the Monkees as well. All right. Oh, we're drawing gorillas. So stay on target. Perfect marketing opportunity there for Target. Was it Porkins? Who was the guy? Stay on target. How would you be the battle for what battle do they call that? The assault on the Death Star. And you're like Porkins's brother, and they get back from blowing up the Death Star, and everyone's cheering like it's this great victory, and it is for the realm, for the galaxy or whatever. It's like we're all hooting and hollering. My brother died, man. My brother crashed into the thing. And you're busy, like, so busy staying on target. Are we going to mourn him at some point? You're going to hand out awards to these bloody... to these two interlopers who just showed up. Wow, that is not how you draw an elf's shoe. I actually don't mind it, though. We might wrap a light around it. Yeah, and like the go-to is like, how dare they not give Chewie an award? But I guess he was just the co-pilot of one of the ships that rocked up at the last minute. So really, Han shouldn't have even got an award. I can't get the angle. I'm switching to guns. What are we talking about? Jackie, what's up, dog? Quote some gorilla lyrics then. I actually don't know the gorillas. There was that song that they just used, which is actually quite interesting. Their main song. What is that main song? Oh, I can't remember. I don't know the gorillas. I know it's the Blur guy, but I don't know what it. But anyway, that main song is the demo of the little keyboard thing that he. So you know when you get one of those little Casio keyboards and you press the little demo button, it goes tick a tick tick bing bing bing, and it's basically like, this is what the keyboard can do. Do. So that main song is the whole thing is just the demo song on this little thing. I'm gonna see what the song is called. You've said the name, I think, or you've just named a guy from a movie once. Gorillas. Unless you're talking about Gorillas in the Mist. Ice Cube. Gorillas songs. Oh, what is it? No. Oh well, do your own Googling. It's a thing, I swear. Blur Man was Damien Arbon was interviewed, and he literally showed off the keyboard that's plays the little beat. Missed it by that much. That's good. Yeah, now I'm just thinking of other things that Ice Cube was always running from the ghetto birds. Run, run, run from the ghetto bird, which was a police helicopter. I actually have a friend whose brother works for the Force. He's a Sith Lord. No, for the police force. And whenever there is a ghetto bird flying around, she just texts her brother and says, "Yo, what's cooking? Yo, Miley, what's good?" And yeah, he'll alert her to the goings on in the general vicinity. Back in the day, the worst sort of stuff that we had going down was people would set fire to our bins or knock our letterboxes down. Ice Cube and Dre, Natural Born Killers, best wrestling entrance theme ever. Yeah. Yeah. Not my favorite of either Dr. Dre's and Ice Cube's. But yeah, it's a pretty monstrous song. The NWA reunion, hello, is freaking bonza. Yeah, I don't know that bonza is the word, but here we are. This was meant to be wrapped around him, so let's do some rapping. My favorite Dr. Dre song would be, why can't I think of blink, 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 blink. Guess who's back? But for some reason I can't think of the name. But I also like The Watch. Things just ain't the same for gangsters. Cops is anxious to put in handcuffs. They want to hang us, see us dead or enslave us. So when it happens, that's it. Seen them come, watched them go, watched them rise, witnessed it and watched them blow. Watched the lawsuits when they lost the dough. Best friends of money, I lost them both. Went visited, just in the hospital. So the same shit all across the globe. I had to sit back and watch the show. Everywhere that I go ain't the same as before. I see people I know. I know. Yeah. Written by wait, is that one written by? That one might be written by Eminem actually. But what's the main one that I'm trying to think of? It's like my favorite song. I can't think of it. But it's a beat, yeah, where Scott Storch is just playing piano. Bling, 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 bling. And Dre's just like, that's it. Keep going. Adds the beat. And then they're like, all right, let's, start rapping over it. And he's like, no, we're calling Jay-Z. And he calls Jay-Z, gets Jay-Z to write it. Because he's just like, this beat is the shiz wazzle. So let's get like the guy. And so Jay-Z comes in and writes the rappy raps, which I believe that's what they called it. That was the working title. They called it Rappy Raps. To hear it constantly play over New Jack murdering people is gold. Yeah, New Jack. Now there's a guy. I've not seen much of his in-ring work, but I've seen plenty of his curricular activities, or at least the talks of his curricular activities. And possibly not my kind of dude. Still Dre. That's the one. Still doing this shit, huh, Dre? Oh, for sure. Representing for the gangsters all across the world. Hit them corners in the lolos, girl. And time to perfect the beat. And I still got love for the streets. It's the DRE. That's the one. Good work, Dunk. DJ Dunk. If I was a DJ, my name would be DJ Eric, which sounds pretty whatever until I start saying my name. DJ Eric, DJ Eric. So, got that going for me. All right, baby. Keep on rolling, baby. Say what you will about the Dead Man gimmick. Oh, not the Dead Man gimmick. The American Badass gimmick. And say what you will about Limp Bizkit. But the two of them together, add a Harley Davidson, The Undertaker coming out on a Harley to Limp Bizkit was Good Times, man. I'm goth, but I know my rap, says Duncan. Yeah, I'm grunge, but I know my rap too. Well, I still need to ask you a lot of questions about what my favorite songs are. 1, 2, 3, and it comes with the wicked stars, which you know that I'm from. The Wicked Crew, act like you knew. From the Wicked Crew, act like you know, cause I got everybody jumping to the voodoo stick it. Wicked rhymes, pick it, times. Me and my mom's got a truck full of nines. Stop ya, and I'll stop you. I can't remember the rest goes, but love me some Ice Cube back in the day. I remember I might have been a monstrous nerd, but I had what I thought were wicked music tastes, and I made a point of, when I was listening to Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style in class one day, I cranked it so loud in my Walkman that it was making me deaf, because I wanted some cool kid in the class to hear it. And he was like, yo, man, you listening to Snoop Dogg? And I was like, yeah, boy, I'm cool as shit, yard. So I scored, momentary cool points. You guys drawing? What are you guys doing? Lying down, sitting up? Is this on your TV, Nick? Because that makes me feel weird in my pants. And then when I say things like that, it's even weirder. Because I'm like, why did I say that? And I'm on Nick's TV. Come on. So one easy thing with color selection is that these peeps have their own palette, and that I am to stick to it as much as I can. So it makes the choices quite simple. On my iPad, so no drawing, says Nick May. Okay. And Nick, all going well. I don't think I'm going to finish all these tonight, but I should only have 1 or 2 left to do tomorrow. And then I'm going to make it a Vamoose Day, which will be... I've got to write something for Dana Lawson, who's been patiently waiting for a track to explode on. 50 Cent reference. But yeah, start collating that whole chestnut. What I have here is a pre-made pattern that I did when I first got this set of jobs, which is his shirt designs. So I've got 3 different shirt designs that I use to make his, because he has these little Hawaiian shirts. Oh, you can see my first... This is one of my first designs of him that they... I think that was the very first one that they then got me to work on. Oh, here's some more. So I think we started getting close around this one, but I was going for far more big gorilla, and they wanted more of a cute guy. So then we landed on these. I think were sort of like the finished designs. Skinny, lanky body, close but not there. Too douchey, snarky looking. Ooh, this vibe. Lovable, a little dopey maybe. Yeah, and that's the one they landed on. So, and then yeah, you can see the different sketches I've sent over time. Send the sketches, get them approved, and then turn them into something pretty. That's the go. And so now we're laying this shirt design over the top of his shirt. Put it on the angle of the dangle. Put a clipping mask on it. Bring the old opacity down a little bit. Down to 50% is my standard. Merge them together. Merge that one together. And there you've got a near finished dude. Except this one we get to have a little bit of fun with and put some... lights on these things, which my thinking is we're just going to go big baubles of color. Maybe? Is that a thing? Let's see how we go. Inking. Dave Dye is inking. Sweet. Eagerly await Amazing Tales number 7. Assuming that's what you're inking. Penciling Bin Kitty 2. Awesome. I will also be reading that. Sorting Comics, just finished my Marvel Tales and Ultimate Spider-Man boxes. Man, Ultimate Spider... I meant to talk about this on Aussieverse, but we never got around to it. Ultimate Spider-Man, I dodged that for the longest time, stupidly. So I went away from comics for a little while, and when I got back, it was far more daunting than I thought it would be. I walked into a comic book store and I legit, even though like I knew these characters and everything, I still looked at it and I had no idea what to do, where to jump in, anything. So I went to the counter and I basically said that, and he said, "Well, who are your favorites?" And I said, "The X-Men, Ghost Rider, and Spider-Man." So he gave me Ultimate X-Men and Ultimate Spider-Man. I read them both and hated them both. I didn't understand why the X-Men didn't know each other, and why they looked all different, and why Gambit was, everyone was just different ages, or all these different, it was different. And then Spider-Man was like retelling his origin, and I didn't get it. I was like, why? What is this? I was wanting to get back in on where they're up to, not have this weird retelling of the past. So I kind of bailed on comics again for a little while. I tried to get back in, and I felt I couldn't. And then my favorite TV show at the time, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, moved into comic books. And I ventured back into a store and I picked up Buffy, and I saw a cover of New Avengers, I want to say 54 or something like that. It was Wolverine covered in symbiote, essentially like a Wolverine Venom sort of thing. And I was like, "Ooh, what is that?" And I bought it. Well, actually, I took it to the counter, and the guy said, "Oh, do you want the start of this story arc?" And it was New Avengers Venom Bomb or something it was called. So, I got this 3 or 4 issues, and I freaking loved it. And so I started a pull list. I got New Avengers added to my pull list, Buffy added to my pull list. But after a while, I wanted to know what was going on with Spider-Man. And stupid me, I should have just bought Amazing Spider-Man. But I wanted to dive back in, and now that I was back into comics, I got all my comics together, and I got the Ultimate Spider-Man trade that I had and put it with the other comics. And I picked it up and I looked at it, and by this time, it was up to like trade number 13 or something. But I read it again with a bit more of an open mind, and I saw what it was, its intention, and realized I was an idiot, and that it was freaking amazing. I then promptly bought the entire set, right through to Miles Morales and all that stuff. And I think it's the best Spider-Man I've ever read. I'd be curious now to go back, because I remember it was already a little dated feeling. Like it was definitely a 2000-ish feeling vibe. And I was reading it in maybe 2010 or something. Which, I don't know, maybe that's weird. Never tried Ultimate X-Men again though. By then I'd sort of found a way to get back into X-Men by, funnily enough, just picking up the bloody books. OPDU sweet flower. Side note, can't wait for Bin Kitty 2 from Peter Lane. That's cool. Rebagging and boarding, you'd know something about that. Yeah. My days of it's very curious actually. My house, you know, my comics have always been the most important thing to me, like material thing. But as this office became my wife's and I wanted a spot for my daughter to be able to draw outside of my trades, which are all behind me, all my single issues in the boxes have gone into the garage. And it's amazing how little I care. It's a little weird how much I don't. Like, we're actually talking about extending our house into the garage, like getting walls knocked out and stuff, because she's getting a little toit around here with all the kids' stuff. And my comics kind of have to factor into the discussion because I don't want to put them in the shed. That's like the next demotion. But it's funny how a thing that I was so precious about, I am not as precious about as I once was. Life's weird like that. There's some sort of, maybe it's an out of sight, out of mind thing. Like once they went into the garage, they weren't on the forefront of my mind. I don't know, mate. Clipping. They're clipping. All right, let's pep up. Y'all are still here hanging out. I'm getting a little bit quieter, so I need to pep it up a little bit. What should we talk about? Because as I say, I'd love to get some of these finished, more of these finished. So I should try and keep the energy up, keep you guys hanging out, keep me accountable. Maybe we can get this thing squared away. So what should we talk about? I was trying to think of alternate worlds stories, or perhaps I shouldn't say the shop, so then I could be a little bit freer with. So we'll remove that from the edit. Yeah, I remember it was my dream to work in a comic book shop. It's amazing how like quickly you're just like, oh, that's what this is, and it's yeah, which is like not a careful what you wish for thing, but just like you build these things up in your mind and they're never quite what you think. That's not to say it like it was one of the better jobs I had. But it wasn't just like standing around talking comics all day. There was a lot of that. Fortunately, I had to maneuver myself into the position of being able to stand around. But for the first few years, I wasn't the stand around guy. I remember when I went for the job, hey Gozzo boy, it's an iPad. Inception, more than meets the iPad. Just Procreate. Nothing too crazy, mate, but if you went back in time and told me as a kid, or not even as a kid, just like 10 years ago, and told me that I would be able to do this, holy moly, I would have lost my mind. Like, you know, lots of people say, oh, you know, it was a transition, getting used to drawing digitally. Oh, holy moly. I had been training for this my entire life. I worked in a print shop for the longest time. We put lots of our prints in. Hey, P&P Widgies, what did you miss? Man, you missed. Yeah, actually, sorry. Rewind that. Pirate design has a little long head vibe. You're damn straight, Nick. And I think if you go back and see when I first drew this, I think it would have been right when Longhead first debuted. Because I can't help but I can't help falling in love with you. Yeah, I can't help but have outside influences carry over into my my own stuff. Also, though, I think I was just trying to, fill this thing out, and that's fun to draw, and it's not the character or anything. It's just this little thing. So I thought I can perhaps rip off Longhead there and just, I don't know. It's a fun little, it's a fun, awesome style Millie Holton has. What did I miss? P&P Widgies. Well, I don't know how you feel about the inner workings of an old idiot, but that's what we have been delving into. Oh, he's got an outie. Oh, yeah, I guess. I sort of thought it was like that. It's a bit of an innie. This is a mascot guy for a company that I do regular work for. It's their mascot thing, and they want Christmas gorillas. So here we be drawing Christmas gorillas. Yeah, I ended up hating comics for a few years after running a ComX shop. Eventually found my love for it again. Eventually. P&P Widgies. No problem. You are correct. It did look like an outie. I meant it as an innie. But, yeah, there were outie vibes. Yeah. Pete, I don't know if I got to 8 levels. Actually working in a comic shop, really ramped up my collecting. And I definitely don't hate comics now, but it's money got tight and things had to be cut back, and COVID sort of hit, and I stopped working in the store, so I was not around them so frequently, and so I whittled my pull list down and down and down until I just realized I wasn't really desperate to read any of them in particular. And also I had started writing, and I kind of had too many stories in my head. I had too much going on, and I didn't want to read. I kind of had stopped reading a little bit. Even now, I'm not reading anywhere near as much as I was before Devil's Toilet 1 came out. Because I've just had so much other stories in my head, trying to keep them straight and whatever. So I stopped reading a little bit. So my pull list fell away, and so quickly you fall out of... I know there's all kinds of controversy going on with Spider-Man at the moment. And Amazing Spider-Man was one of my pulls. So I've missed... I loved Superior Spider-Man. Best Spider-Man I'd had read for many years. And then Nick Spencer took over, and I didn't love that. It was way too much boomerang silliness for me. I bailed on Amazing Spider-Man because of... and then, yeah, so I've missed all... I know there's all this crazy drama with Zeb Wells at the moment. But I'm not reading it. Almost done with this one. I think you could argue that those lights should be casting shadows, but I don't think kids on the play center are going to pull me up on it. I think we can sneak this one past the keeper, as they say. I think that's pretty decent. Let's just check. We got everything. Looks all right when it's like that. All right, that one's done. So we've done 3 of 5. This one seems easy enough. Maybe. I don't think we're doing it. No, surely not. I don't think we can get there. I miss comics, says P and P Widgies. Yeah. I do too, a little bit. I don't know what's happened to my... Oh, thanks, Gozzy Boy. I don't know what's happened to my attention span, but it has left the building, he says, as he spends 3 hours on a live stream. But yeah, my reading has taken a hit, both in how regularly or unregularly I do it, but also how much I retain while doing it. It's kind of depressing. And if you were here at the start of the show, you would know we are here to actually combat depressing thoughts. Because it's been a week. It's been a bit of a challenging one for no real like reason that's a curable reason. Just freaking life sometimes gets hard. That's what she said. No, she didn't. She said nothing of the sort. In fact, that's the problem. Yeah, so what we are doing is we are willing ourselves out of a rut by forcing ourselves to turn it on in the hope that once it is turned on, it will be harder to turn off. Because at a certain point, I had to fight back, otherwise, which has kind of been, which had me thinking about doing this, because drink and draw is often something I sometimes have to force myself to do, and I feel better for it, having turned myself on, but also checking in with my buddies and whatnot. So with not having that on the agenda this week, because we are on holiday, I thought I'm going to have to be a bit proactive. I'm going to have to make like a cholesterol reducing margarine and be proactive. Eh? Grocery jokes. I once got a call on New Year's Eve from my doctor, and he said, not for you to worry about now. Have a good night. But next week sometime, you need to come in and we need to talk about your cholesterol. And I was like, bitch. So cut to me eating fish like it was made out of half Scarlett Johansson, because fish is good for reducing your cholesterol. Fish cooked in Proactive was my go-to. Gee, it tasted like shiz. But damn it if it didn't get my cholesterol right down. Who's messaging me? My brother is currently on the way home from America, where he was a guest of the Milk Carton Kids, playing at the Milk Carton Kids have a camp every year where songwriters get together and share their wares. They write songs they write songs together and critique each other's songs and whatnot. And my brother went as all expenses paid. Well, not the expenses of flights over there, but yeah, he went as a special guest and camped with all these songwriters and the Milk Carton Kids and put some tunes together. My brother has illustrious plans for Herb from Sluggish, which is interesting. He is in the comedy, acting, improv world and believes Herb to be ripe for some stuff. So we're hopefully going to do some stuff. Right. I let my future self... Is your brother famous? You tell me. Ever heard of Bono? My brother's not Bono, but he does have a boner. No, that's not true. I mean, it's possibly true. His partner is pregnant. So at one time he has had a Bono. No, my brother is not famous. You may have seen him when he was in Jaws. He played the shark. No, he has been on commercials and whatnot. But famous, I say nay. But the funny thing about the commercials that he was on, they were fairly widely played. And people who... So my brother is 8 years younger than me. And so people who hadn't seen me in about 8 years, when my brother's ad was on telly, I got at least 4 different text messages that said, "Holy crap, I just saw you on TV." And I was like, "Brah, it was me." Like Shaggy. And then when they see what I actually look like now, they were like, "Holy, you aged horribly. Like a trout." That hand is not the worst. It's also not the best, but I ain't hating on it. I don't think it's big enough, and it's on the wrong angle, but... Do you know why? So I think that's why AI has such trouble with hands, because it is ripping off artists all over the world, and one of the trickiest things to draw that most artists, well, a fair percentage of artists struggle with, is hands. So when this AI stuff is ripping from artists all over the world, the average artist has some pretty crap drawn hands. So AI is just like, which is the right one? I don't know. Let's just take from all of them, and you get some most peculiar hands. I asked Ben Sullivan what his favorite thing to draw was, and he said hands. To which I have a theory that it's his favorite because at one point it was super challenging, and he has perhaps conquered or is on his way to fully conquering hands, and so it's quite rewarding to successfully draw a hand. Now, I hate drawing hands because my hit rate of good looking hands is much lower than Ben's is. So while yes, I feel a tad rewarded when they look all right, it doesn't happen as often as it does to Ben, therefore not my favorite. But for a while I enjoyed... My favorite thing to do was to draw females, because I couldn't draw them for the longest time. I mean, I'd argue I still don't fully have my head around it, but my percentage hit rate over time went up, and so I enjoyed drawing them because it was... I hate a challenge. I hate a true challenge. I like a little bit of a challenge. Just give me a little bit. Give me a taste. Give me a challenge taste. All right. So will the streak continue? Same hand, but in reverse. I don't like our chances, peeps, but let's go for it anyway. The angle's not right, guys. The angle's not right. So let's see if we can fake it till we make it. Can we? Are we somewhere? And then give it some life. I was thinking about doing a writing exercise with people on a live stream coming up. I thought it could be fun / I actually thought about like writing a comic book script from scratch with like no characters, no ideas, no nothing, and we just start from the start live and just see what happens. And it could be an absolute schmozzle, or it could be interesting. But I thought about doing a writing exercise thing, which is one of my little like go-to fun cheats when you want to combat writer's block, or when you're uninspired or whatever. Because I feel like sometimes we sit around and we wait for an idea to hit, and that it's got to be some unique thing that no one's ever thought of before, when actually I think you can make that happen. And there's a few little tricks that I like to implement. It's not always successful, but I think you end up falling on an idea because the idea presents itself. Like, yeah, if you're sitting around and waiting for like what's the gimmick, what's the thing no one's ever done before, I think that's the wrong way to do it. I don't know. I'm just a person with theories. But I think you can will it into existence. Yeah, so I want to do that. I want to do that live on streamy thing with y'all, in front of y'all, and experiment a little bit. And if it works, we can make it a thing. And if it doesn't, we can pretend it didn't happen and delete it. Or just delete it. I like action poses a little bit. Hey, Spedsy, that's a cool idea. I would be into doing that. I have so many ideas, but they kind of get stale and I ditch them. Hey, Corey. Allegory. Yeah. I see, and maybe this is a pompous way of looking at it, but I think if you go character first, I think it's hard to say, but like if you're, to me, if you just go, I want to do a space thing, but I don't know what the hook is. I don't know like what my thing is that makes it not Star Wars or whatever. Then I'd be like, all right, let's sit down and let's make some characters and let's see what the characters want. Let's see what the characters come up with. Let's see, like, when you create this person and this person, what do they have in common? What do they have not so in common? Best question ever. Sorry, so yeah, and so the conflict or the camaraderie, whatever comes up, therein is the plot. Therein is the whatever. You find out those two characters you just created are brothers. All right, why are they arguing? Because of this. All right, well then, is that something they need to deal with, or is that like something that informs like the way that they carry themselves, etc.? and suddenly little things that need addressing present themselves. I just got an interesting thing. Checking out your channel. What's a Sidrus? So I am streaming right now in a whole bunch of places. One being the ComX Network. So the ComX Network is run by a gentleman called Shane Siddle. And it's a place where creators from all over Australia get to show off their wares and whatnot. ComX is a network of Australian creators, but it's also a publishing house that publishes many awesome comic books. One of which is written and created by Shane himself, and that's his character called Sidrus, who is a super being of sorts. And his tales are told by a whole bunch of people from throughout the Australian comic book community. So that comic book, if you want to read more, you could head to ComX.shop, and there you'll get like a little what's it about and all that sort of whatnot. When you click on Sidrus. But basically, it's a comic book that is published by ComX Studios. So, yes, I am part of ComX, but I wouldn't so much say that this is my channel. I am just part of the ComX crew, and so Sis lets me use his shindiggeries to do this little thing. Were we talking about something important before that? I guess we kind of were, making stories and whatever. I mean, one of my go-to secrets or tricks or whatever, and would be one of the things I would, one of the fun little can you tell I don't like the way his shirt was hanging? So I'm trying to fix it. Yeah, one of the little exercises that I think is quite valuable when you're in a I don't know what to write, I don't have any ideas, that sort of phase. And obviously there's many ways you can tackle that, but one of the ways that I like to do is what I call, and it might even be wherever I got it from, it might have even been what they call it, so I dare not say it's what I call because I didn't create it, but put them in a room. That's what the exercise is sort of called in my mind. I've done it like in a writers group thing, a presentation thing, and I called it put them in a room. And that's basically just, you've got one person in a room and you basically write it however you're comfortable. If you're writing it like prose, if you're writing it like a comic book script, or if you're just writing stuff. Man, this shirt sucks. So it's just writing to write. Not people aren't necessarily going to read this. It's just you searching for an idea. But have one person walk in and says, "Hey," and the other person says, "Hey, how's it going?" And then just keep it going. The person says, "It's going all right." And it's kind of like improv, except you're both characters. And, well, what do you mean? Why just all right? Well, I got your text the other day. Oh, yeah. And just problems just appear. And before you know it, they're arguing. What are they arguing about? And boy, you damn got yourself a story. But that's kind of what it is. Then there's a version where you could you make a little form, make a form that needs filling out. Imagine the character filling it out. So you write a form that like starts name, sex, yes please, fears, goals, work history. There's no rules. You put on this form whatever you would like to see, and like you say fears, and the fears can be he fears failure. It can also be he's scared of spiders. You get as literal or as metaphorical or whatever as you wish. And suddenly these characters start getting these traits. And also another cool thing is when filling out the form, if you find yourself doing fears and then you write spiders and you're just like, so uninspired, go for opposites. Just flip it. So if the first thing you think to write is that he's scared of spiders, well, do it that he loves spiders, or do it what eats spiders? Birds. All right, he's scared of birds. And so suddenly, by flipping the script, you've just given yourself something that was not your first thought. Is something weird, is something random. And suddenly you find that this thing writes itself. And okay, he's scared of failure. All right, well, that's maybe that's been written about a lot. What if he's scared of success? Suddenly, that's kind of interesting. Well, what's been his dream, his goal? Why would he be scared of it? What would happen if he got his wish or whatever? And then, by golly, boy, you got yourself a story. Allegory rhymes with Corey. Good advice. I seem to be really into doing character designs. I put so much work into them. Sometimes I wish I could pass them on to someone who is a better writer. Well, you can do that. But I'd also almost dare you to try and give it a crack yourself. Especially too, like when it's just you on a computer. Like there's sort of like there's a thing like if you're in a creative collaboration, the rule should be there are no bad ideas. Because at the moment that you start thinking there are bad ideas, that's the moment that people stop throwing things out there, and you're going to miss some amazing stuff. If someone says, "What about?" and then everybody laughs at them, or says, "No, that sucks," or "No, that would never work," or whatever, suddenly that person's not going to be as open to throwing ideas out. Now, it's just you typing on your own computer. So be as kind to yourself as you would be to that person in that writer's room, in that collaboration. Let yourself write down some shit ideas. That they might not be shit when you wake up and look at them tomorrow morning. They might... And yeah, like if you play the opposite game too, like if you're like, I always go for this, then start mucking around with opposites. Done the opposite thing too many, do adjacents. Go sideways with it. Yeah, I would also like Corey, if you like designing characters, start you put a cool belt on them. Start thinking about where they got the belt from. What, it's got a nick in it. Where did that little nick come from? He's got a pouch. What's in the pouch? And if you're worried about coming up with a cool idea for what's in the pouch, just write down the first thing you think of. It's got seeds in there. All right, seeds for what? For a tree. Okay, he's got seeds for a tree. Why would he have seeds? Why is he carrying seeds in a pouch? There are no bad ideas. Don't laugh at yourself, Spedsy. Okay, well, he's got seeds in his pouch because he's like a forest replant guy. One of those guys who likes to reforestation type deals. Okay, why is he so passionate about that? Because his dad was the head of a logging company. Okay, so he doesn't get along with his dad. His dad left when he was young to build his business. I don't know. This is not making for a great comic book as yet, but let's keep going. Well, I'm not going to keep going but you know what I mean? Let's keep going until we find the thing. All right, so we've hit a bit of we haven't found much to play with in the seeds department. So what's in the other pouch? There's a vial in there. A vial of what? Well, it's a blue liquid that glows whenever orcs are about. No, that's been done. It's a blue liquid that is the soul of an angel. How did he get hold of the soul of an angel? Well, he was awoken one night. There was a sound in his basement. And he went down there with a baseball bat, thinking it was an intruder. And he killed an angel. This thing writes itself, guys. It's called Angel Basement. Yeah, but my point is, if you love designing the costumes, start thinking about why they have that thing on the costume, and not the other way around. I don't think it does you any favors to think of things to put on a costume and then design the character. I think just draw what you like drawing. Make something look cool, and then retroactively go, why does it have this? What are the chances that my lady friend will bring me a mineral water? Any chance you could bring me a mineral water? Controversial. I could go and get it myself. But, you know, got to bring home the proverbial bacon or something. Yeah, did we get somewhere, Corey? Is that a thing? Did we do something? But yeah, otherwise, the getting someone to play around with your designs, I tell you what, as a writer, there is nothing more fun than, you know, someone hands over their sketchbook and just says, I don't know, is there something in here? And then you just like, that's just fun. When you just get to like look and you just go, what's this person's deal? And you're in charge of what that person's deal is. That's the thing that dreams are made of. I once had a little nick in me, says Nick May. Hey, why was it in you? That sounds wrong, Mr. May. I feel a little sick now, says Shane, creator of Sidrus. Sis, I don't know if you saw a little earlier. Someone was asking me, what is a Sidrus? True, thanks for the advice. Yeah, I kind of go super bizarre as possible with the character designs, so the ideas do sometimes come from the visuals. And thanks, Shane. That's awesome, man. Duncan says, writing is easy. There's a mouse. He lives in a bottle bank. He plays the trombone. He only eats licorice. His best friend is a panda. Boom. There's a timeless children's classic. Is that a real thing? Hang on, let me reread it. There's a mouse. He lives in a bottle bank. He plays trombone. Is this Mickey Mouse? He only eats licorice and his best friend is a panda. No, that's not Mickey Mouse. Boom. There's a timeless children's classic. If that's not a thing, it's a thing now. I don't know what a bottle bank is, but I'm eager to find out. This mouse, trombone-playing mouse who eats licorice. I mean, how does a mouse end up hanging out with a panda? That's half your story right there. A quote from Black Books. All right, Duncan, challenge. I want you to write down the exact same thing that you just wrote, but swap something in for the mouse, swap something for the bottle bank, swap something for the trombone, swap out the licorice, swap out the panda. Go. There's a something, he lives in a something, he plays the something, he only eats something, and his best friend is a something. This is, what's that game they play? It's an American thing where they Mad Libs. That's what it is. It's a Mad Lib. And then so what you do in a Mad Lib is you basically write ass every time, or ass. And so it would be writing his ass. There's an ass and he lives in an ass. He plays the ass and he only eats ass. And his best friend is an ass. Boom. There's a timeless ass classic. I hope to one day write a timeless ass classic, but these are not really things you can plan. They just sort of happen. How do skeletons work? Not like this. Skulls don't have necks. Rob lives in a hole, plays dominoes, eats his own shizer, and his best friend is a volleyball FU. Not the timeless children's classic that I hoped for. The volleyball's been done. But I could do something with the living in a hole and playing dominoes and eating my own poop. Perhaps. Maybe a second draft. See how we go. Get a second draft on it. Their stories are always a bit of a stretch. Get it? Easy. Thank you. It's sarsaparilla breath. Mineral water. All right, let's finish this one, and then we'll go to bed together. She left the door open. I tell you, I can say nonsense in front of people on the internet, but I can't have my lady friend hear the nonsense. I don't know what that means. Skeleton hands are made of bones, but I'm going to do them as fingers. Lazy. So this is a Halloween themed gorilla who is running from a skeleton coming out of the ground. Man, I wanted to finish all 5 tonight. I don't think I'm going to do it. I wanted to wake up tomorrow free falling, free as a bird. I'm like a bird, I only fly away. I'm like a bird, I only fly away. Now, in Bruglia, here's the thing about birds. Sometimes they fly to a place as well. They don't only fly away. I know you're torn, but wait, that's not the same person, is it? I'm like a bird, I only fly away. I don't know where my home is. Birds know where their nest is. I don't know where my home is. Feel like a zing, like a bomb, like a bird, I only fly away. Who sings that? Hit me up in the comments. All right, let's not get too fancy with these bones here, guys. like, are we drawing tendons? What are we even pretending to do here? And then it's got these real hands. What even are you anymore, Spedsy? I sing that. The bird lady is Nelly Furtado. I had one of those at the bakery this morning. A lemon Furtado. What else did Nelly Furtado do? I don't think you can say Furtado anymore. I don't think it's politically correct. I'm like a bird. I only fly away. That's going to bother me. It's not what birds do. They don't only fly away. Sometimes they eat bread off your lawn. Sometimes they poop on your car. I'm like a bird. I only poop on your car, fly in huge flocks, feed my babies, build nests. She's singing about homeless birds with responsibility issues. Oh. Nick May going deep on that ass. We haven't done one of those in a while. This is my new thing. So it's as old as the hills, mate. But I rely too much on I'll blank you in a minute as my go-to joke. So I think I'm going to start doing things on that ass. So, you might be saying, I'm building a shed. And normally I would say, I'll build you in a minute. Doesn't even make sense. So you say, I'm building a shed. And I'll say, I'm building a shed on that ass. It's a bit more risque. But yeah, I'm going to try and make it a thing. So, my rotation, I think, g'day, mate. Still got some legs. So we'll keep that going for a little bit longer. I think the I'll blank you in a minute is on its last days. So it's time to replace it with on that ass. So get ready, Dave Dye. If you're still busy inking, soon I'm going to be busy inking that ass. All right, maybe it doesn't work. Elbows around. They're just a round ball. This is not anatomically correct. There's more bones going in the dirt. And then we put a little dirt pile there. Put some things around. Pretty sure Nelly woman popped out kids and retired. I'm like a mum. I only pop out kids. See? When you make it about a person, that's disrespectful, isn't it? Mums are a lot more than just popping out kids. Whereas she's saying that all birds do is fly away. So, and they don't know where their home is. Have you ever seen a bird? Where do you think they go every day? Too many bones in that arm. Yeah. But at the end of the day, which is now, it is right now the end of the day, you just gotta look a bony arm in its face and just say, is anatomy important in this drawing? Let's put a Nick May in there, shall we? Yeah, look at that. Quick would be proud. So the idea here, folks, is that the guy, he's scared of what's coming out of the ground. Nick is just used to being around a lot of bones. Is that true? Says. All right, let's color this sucker. Where are our pallets? Where are our pallets? We do the hedge. Oh, son of a bee. What the dickens? Oh, son of a. I had went to a fancy chicken joint tonight for dinner. And I tell you what they do a mean roast chook, but I think they cut the chook into bits and then cook it. Because even like the bones inside and stuff were flavoursome. And my inner caveman came out and I ate said bones. I gnawed them with my teeth. Not ignored them, just gnawed them. Ah, son of a crumpet. All right, so let's think. Have I been in any other fights? Fighting was a thing we talked about earlier. Oh yes, I did get punched in the face once. Me and some buddies. We were at me and two buddies. We were at a rock and roll show. A friend's band was playing, and a drunken lad came up and danced in front of my buddy, and he danced strangely. And my friend commented on it and noted that it was a bit strange. And this drunken lad did not take kindly to this critique of his dancing style. And his temper began to get the better of him. So my mate, who is he's the ruffian that we talked about earlier, who liked punching Dan May, and Dan May also liked punching. While being somewhat of a ruffian, he was a very trustworthy party friend, like not someone who would get into trouble, not someone who would start fights. He would do the opposite. He would try to actually negate things like that. So when this particular gentleman got fired up, my buddy Dougie went into diffuse mode, going so far as to buy this man a beer. And all was good for a little while. And then as our rock band buddies, it was a friend's band we were watching, they had finished up and they were about to go home, but we had more drinking to do. And a girlfriend of one of the band members who we were quite close to, she said, I really wish you guys would go home because this place looks like it's going to get rough. We were lovers, not fighters. We had diffused an incident earlier on. We were like, you don't have to worry about us. We are not ones to partake in that sort of nonsense. And then, like clockwork, once she had left and all sort of responsible people who might have been able to drive us home and whatnot had left, the gentleman who earlier didn't like the critique of his dancing reapproached, but this time he approached my other friend who, while also somewhat of a gentle giant. Probably wasn't as diffusing as he could be. And so when the bad guy came up and basically started the push and shove, my friend retaliated, and it was on. And so I innocently tried to separate two of them. And for that, I got a fist in the jaw. And my first inclination was like a poof, and I was like, oh. And I thought, oh well. And I picked up my beer and I went to drink it, and the whole beer went red with blood. And I was like, oh. Yeah, like my lip had been busted open. So then security kicked out basically the other guys, and the night continued on, but we got word that these gentlemen were waiting out the front for us, and last drinks was called, and it was time to go home, and there was no way for us to leave without re-engaging these gentlemen. Now, you might recall the last time I got into such an incident, I jumped the back fence of the house that we were in and made the mad dash that way. This time we weren't so lucky. There was no back fence to jump, but there was a back door to exit. So fortunately, the singer of the band, who was our buddy, was still there, and he had a vehicle. And security said, how about you bring your car around? I'll send these guys out the back, and you can, sneak them into the car that way. So, we get in the car, and then, of course, we drive around the front of the pub. And we had to, of course, sing out the window. Like, eat shit, you dickheads were. And they were none too happy that we had escaped unscathed. One can be both a lover and a fighter. Smash a face, then go out and smash a clam or two. That's a rich, full day right there. Yeah, any pearls in those clams? It's been a while since I worked the docks. But yeah, is that still a thing when you're smashing clams? You look out for pearls. Not pearls of wisdom, actual pearls. Have you ever thought about doing an autobiographical comic? You have a lot of great fodder to use. I sort of have. I have a comic book called Sluggish, which is probably the nearest to... it takes a lot of real world bits and pieces and puts them into sort of a narrative of sorts. Like, kind of. And it's funny, they actually, issue 3, I have begun writing, and it will take a few things from the very recent times and put it into a fictional whatnot. I got to work on saying whatnot less too. Man, I say that too much. But it's my... don't know what to say. Like, I've left a sentence hanging, and that's one way to wrap it up. I'll tell you that for free. Yeah, the pearl is right above the opening. You can stimulate it with your... Okay. Yeah, I should read these before I read them out loud. But yeah, very different to my days back on the old pier. Oh well. The world is changing. Yeah, I shouldn't have read it out, Sis. But, you know, you live and learn. Who was the first guy that saw two shells stuck together and thought, I'm going to try and rip that open and see what's inside? And the first few times there's nothing in there, but he keeps looking. And then one time there's a pearl in there. And he's like, oh, that's a pretty little ball. And then they decide, well, those balls are kind of hard to come by. It was just sexier than I meant it. So let's make them valuable. Who was the first guy or gal? But I'm going to guess a guy because it's kind of stupid. That cut open an onion and was like, my eyes. And then was like, but I'm going to put it in my mouth. Like, have you ever seen or been in contact with something that burnt your eyes and the first thing you thought to do was put it in your mouth? Someone did that. We're standing on the shoulders of giants, you guys. I mean, there was a guy who basically pulled a carrot out of the ground and went, oh, that looks like a little orange dick. I might put it in my mouth. I was like, you know what? I can see better now. Or I've got more hairs on my chest. I can't remember what carrots are meant to do. They call them old wives' tales. I'm looking forward to when my wife gets older and starts making up weird shit. I assume that's how it works. That was a really in-depth metaphor. I'll get in depth on that ass. Had that experience with a girl once. Oh, that something was stinging your eyes, but okay, righty-o. This is getting a bit racy as we get into the late hours. All right. Oh, I think you guys can read some of these comments for yourself. What's something else that was weird? What about how many animals did people try to ride before deciding on the horse as the one to ride? What about that? For someone that hasn't seen a giraffe before, a unicorn is more plausible. Like if you said to someone, see that horse, there's one that's got a single horn on its head, and there's one that's neck is like 3 meters long. One of them is fictitious. What do you think? They'd say the one with the 3 meter long neck. What was the man who discovered cow's milk doing under there? Exactly. And how many other things have they... I mean, think of what a chicken's egg is. And they, at some point, decided to cook that, crack it open and cook it. So how many other things did they crack open and cook to see what they were like? I'm not reading it out loud, but just saying, if you guys are watching this tomorrow, firstly, why? No, firstly, thank you. But click on the chat replay thing, and because even for 11 o'clock at night, it's too hot to handle around here. Which, so obviously mankind has tried to eat all the poops of all the animals. I mean, isn't there something with bat poo that's good for you or something? Guava, isn't that a thing? There's also a type of coffee that they encourage some animal to eat, and then the animal poops out the coffee, and then they drink that coffee. So how many other animals did they try that with? Did they try it with a human? I buy coffee every morning for my lady friend, and the other day the coffee lady said, "Let me know what she thinks. We tried out new beans." They could have been butt beans. We're nearly there, guys. We're nearly there. We'll save one gorilla for tomorrow. What's something else? Think about how many times Tesla and his mate that doesn't get any credit zap themselves while trying to harness electricity. There's some dudes that wouldn't have had curly hair for long. Spedsy, you're still here. I know. I was trying to finish these damn gorillas. I've done 4 or 5. I'm going to have to do the last one tomorrow. There's still peeps hanging out, so I'm using that as an excuse to try and finish. Hey, wait, I'm past the 3-hour mark. Oh, golly gosh. Well, this one's almost done. And then we'll go home, I think. Hey, what do you think? Yeah? Because we've started talking about really weird things, so. I saw that you're doing the Ryan Vella collaboration. How's it going? I'm working on my page tonight. Yeah, I did a little bit on the last stream. It's going okay. I haven't touched it since then. So, yeah, I've got this guy. I've got some roughs. I've got the beginnings of this. It's in the building stage. It's in the trust the process stage. I got ideas to make it look cool and whatnot. Damn it. Yeah, I hope to get to it. I mean, maybe tomorrow, but we'll see. I'm super close to having no actual work on tomorrow. I've got 1 gorilla left to draw. And those stickers for the fruit shop, but I can put that off. Talking out loud. Well, that's the only way to talk, actually. Oh, thanks, Corey. You are a nice person. So close. Now I'm just gonna get her done. All right, I think that's it. We did 4 of 5. And I did start this one, but it was annoying me. I think we'll save it. Less is more. 3 hours and 14 is less. There's still people watching though. Oh, I should finish it. No, it's bedtime, y'all. Thank you for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. I can't believe it. It's really cool. Inspires me to get more stuff done. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you to ComX who make this possible. I'm streaming in a whole bunch of places, but nowhere do I get the traction that I get when I stream with Sis. So thank you, Sis, so much. Thank you for watching, commenting, all that good stuff. I don't have an outro video. I've been playing this Battery Hen trailer as my outro, but Battery Hen is at the printers right this second, and hopefully arriving in the next couple of days to fulfill the Rosie Battery Hen Kickstarter. And then it's on to Vamoose 4, V4. Yeah. All right. So, without further something or others, thank you so much. Good night, Peter Lane. Good night, Corey. Good night, Nick. Good night, Claudia. Good night, Duncan. Good night, Sizzle. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. And yeah, I might catch you next week. Bye-bye.